going?
Hello.
Well, hello, welcome back
I have
to
a
the
voice
Wagonways.
this week.
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm a little bit offended because I thought it was back, like fully. And then one of my clients went, "You've still lost your voice, haven't you?"
Yeah,
I was like,
still
"Oh."
a little bit croaky. Maybe this is just you now, Joe.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just how you're going to sound.
Somebody told me, sorry if it was one of you, because I'm not sure who it was, that their friend loses their voice for like a whole month quite often, that they have to keep getting speech therapy. And I was like, don't, because like, if I had to do that, I'd be terrified.
Listen, given all the other things that are going on at the moment, I think that's just something you could really do
no.
without. Having said that, I have enough problem just actually trying to remember what words are meant to be coming out next. So, yeah, who knows where today's conversation is going to go on our rant and ramble down the Wagonways.
See, I can't like not speak anyway, so I feel like I've got too much to say that I don't need speech therapy, because even when I lost my voice, I was still talking.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, should we get into the questions then, and then you can just do as much talking as you would like. So we've had two like really good ones, and me and Joe have been doing a bit of chat about this already. And there's genuinely there was so much to dig into from Judith's question. A little bit there around social media that we're definitely going to dig into, and kind of being able to get up off the floor, and is that important? And if you can't do it, potentially what do you do about it? And then one a little bit earlier from Roberta around, again, social media. So that's going to be the first answer. We're going to kind of roll social media into our first bit of chat. And then spot reduction, or areas of fat spot reduction. So that's the plan today, social media. Then we're going to talk about getting up off the floor and just kind of general aging well, and potential targets to be hitting and thinking about as we age well, and then a bit of fat reduction. So, social media, love it or hate it?
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have two, not different opinions, but two different generation kind of sides here, because I know you all like know I'm young kind of thing, but I also didn't grow up with social media. Like, it became more of a big thing as I went into high school rather than like middle school. You know, I seen a meme the other day on Instagram, and it was like, my life would be so much easier if I still just had a DS. And I was like, yeah, that was literally me. I was the kid playing Cooking Mama on a DS type of thing. So it's kind of like, I feel more sorry for the generations growing up now. I think I was telling some of you ladies who left that my 4-year-old niece is just starting school, and she has to have a laptop. She genuinely has to have a laptop to start school, which I just think, like, who is giving 4-year-olds already a laptop? And it's probably so easy for them to download social media or TikTok and Instagram. So me and Ben's job couldn't be as big of a thing without social media. When I always say, like, when I did my PT qual, I didn't expect to be, he's okay. Sorry, I didn't expect like it to be a massive social media part. I thought all I was going to do is learn exercises and teach you guys. But a big part of our job is, you know, promoting who we are on social media, is saying what right and wrongs, diet things, sharing my food, sharing my workouts. And yeah, I think it's just going to become bigger.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with social media at all. I'm told I didn't actually grow up with a computer. That's possibly showing my age. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm anti-social media at all, but I think one of the words that Joe used there around promoting on social media, and I think this almost comes down to something that we're going to segue into as well, is there's an element of where do you get your information from, and what is the quality of that information that's coming out, because there's so much on social media that is done for the purposes of promotion of something. It could be promoting you as a brand or as an individual, or trying to sell you something, or just, you know, for likes and thumbs up and, you know, memes and all that kind of stuff. So I think from my perspective, when we're looking at, well, any piece of data, but social media particularly, but it could be a bit of research or something that you've read online or what your mates told you down the pub or whatever, it's kind of understanding why that's being put together and where it's come from, and is there good data behind it, and is there kind of good research that's feeding into that, or is it being done for a different agenda, which might be purely around promoting your, you know, next set of fantastic gym leggings or whatever it might be. And it's much easier to promote stuff on social media, or to get eyes on stuff on social media when it's a little bit controversial, or it's kind of setting yourself up in antagonism against a different viewpoint or whatever. So yeah, my honest opinion is that it's a necessary evil. It really, really does have some good points about it, but don't believe everything that you see or read or hear or interact with on social media. Be that getting up off the floor without using your hands, be that fat reduction or not, anything to do with health and fitness, take it with a pinch of salt.
Like, you'll never see on my Instagram, I've never done a post on, this is how you're going to lose fat.
Yeah.
This is how you're going to look like so-and-so. This is how you're going to do this. Oh, sorry, just kick a stick. But you'll see, like, I'll do here my 5 top tips.
Yeah.
And I always put mine, because these are what I believe. This is my thing.
Yeah.
This is not, this is the facts. This is what you should do. It's just all personal to that person. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of creators who just jump onto the trend of what is next, basically. You know, everybody knows that like Hyrox is a big thing at the minute, and there's so many creators, fitness influencers, who are just jumping on it because it's big.
Yep.
And telling you all these tips, and they've actually not done years of it. Whereas, yeah, Hyrox is like a newer thing, but for people like me, I've always done it, as in like I've always been a runner who has also done a different sport at the same time.
Yeah.
I've always run, but I've always done strength.
That hybrid,
I've always done,
hybrid
yeah.
athlete. Yeah.
So there's so many people online who will just jump on because it's money making.
Yep.
And they're then doing one competition. They can call themselves a hybrid trainer now, when really, what is the qualifications they've got? But you're going to believe it just because they're a big name.
Yep.
In the industry, and like then people go, oh well, so and so did it, so I'm going to do that then.
Yeah. So it's kind of do your research and look into who that person is and where they've come from, and why they're promoting what they're promoting. I think that for me almost leads on to these other topics around, let's just say, getting up off the floor, fat reduction that we will come on to, but I'm going to chuck a couple of other ones out there as well.
I've got a few too.
Because there's so many kind of bits of information that come out. So Joe mentioned really, really interestingly there, these kind of top tips. There's ways that we do things. So the ways that, you know, my training looks is different to how Joe's training looks, but there's still similarities. We both still do strength training, for example. We both try to get a certain amount of steps in, or whatever it may be. I'm going to pick on steps very, very briefly, because there's this very
Ben
much...
loves this one.
this is my favourite. Okay, so 10,000 steps as a kind of a target to aim for, and being a really, really good thing, has been around like literally for donkey's years. It's one of the very first fitness tips, if you like, that were kind of put out within the media and that kind of stuff. There is no research to back this particular piece of information up. 5 a day is another one. That's not to say, okay, so the important thing within this is not to say that 10,000 steps isn't a good thing. 10,000 steps a day is a good thing. You should be trying to do as many steps a day as you possibly can. But it's not a case that, like, if you do 10,000 in one, your legs fall off, or if you only do 9,999, you've failed miserably, yeah? But the problem is that the 10,000 steps a day came from the Tokyo Olympics, I think in 1960, there or thereabouts. And for anybody who's aware of what happened in the UK in 2012, there's obviously meant to be this legacy from the Olympics around kind of health and fitness and well-being and that kind of stuff. And one of the issues in Tokyo at the time was there was a lot of transition from a very rural population to a much more urban population. And there was a worry that people were becoming more sedentary and this kind of stuff. And somebody within the Tokyo Olympics area of expertise basically tried to work out how many steps a Japanese farmer took on a daily basis, and came up with the number 10,000. And this was then promoted via the Tokyo Olympics, and effectively my understanding is that that is where that number has come from, is effectively a marketing ploy from the Tokyo Olympics, but it's now everywhere. Yeah? If you ask anybody how many steps should you be doing a day, they'll say 10,000. There's no research that actually backs up where that came from, but the point is it's still a good thing to go and do.
Yeah, so loads of years, whoever gets quite a few years get targets on your app. If you're not sure what that is, it's kind of on the bottom and you have specific goals. And I always, if you are in a fat loss stage or a like certain stage, I'll give you a step target. But I know loads of people, you can back me up. Feel free if you feel confident enough to share what yours is that I give you every day, because I'll say your weekly target rather than your daily target. So for example, if you do 10,000 steps a day, that would be 70,000 steps in a week. So I might write down that your weekly step target is 70,000 steps, but you can spread that out however you would like. You know, if for example, if you're in the office on a Monday, you're literally hardly getting out, and you know for a fact you've got back-to-back meetings, etc. You only get 4,000 to 5,000 steps, and that's simply getting off the metro earlier, parking further away. You get those steps in. But then come Tuesday, you're working from home. You have
Who's your favourite F1 driver? What do you want?
Sorry, we're just going to pause it. But anyway, you have time to get up earlier, you have time to go to the gym, you have time to go for a run, things like that. You get an easily, 12,000 steps in that day. It all then balances out throughout the week to get that 70,000 steps. I would always, if you are religious about it, trying to get that goal, I would look at the weekly total rather than a daily total. Again, I was just saying to Ben, yesterday I was very much doing client check-ins. I was on the gym floor, I was very much stood still. My session was a strength session, so I didn't do any steps specifically. I have a dog which doesn't walk very far, bless her. So my daily steps was about 8,000 steps, which is still good compared to other people. But then today I've gone and, it's 2 o'clock and I've done 15,000 steps because I've done a run and me and Ben are on a walk now. So things like that, it's just even it out throughout the week. Whereas tomorrow, if I only get 4,000 steps, I'm not going to stress about it.
Yeah.
Because it does even out.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to, let's just say, goals or targets, be that 10,000 steps or be it getting up off the floor, because we need to answer Judith's question in this whole thing as well. Should you be able to get up off the floor without using your hands? Obviously, I've got an opinion. Jo, what is your hot take on? It's a yes or no answer. Yes?
Yes. Mobility. It's a yes.
Yes.
And I just don't think age is ever an excuse.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
we kind of picked on this last week about, age, and you have some restrictions, but I think me and Ben see it more clearer because we work with some an older population within the gym sometimes.
That's very much my background as well, working with that, so
I have a few clients who will happily let themselves join the OP clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're possibly, in even just Karen's words, she's at the best point of her life, which has been for fitness.
Yeah. So I think, again, it's one of those quality of life things. So we've picked 10,000 steps. We're talking about getting up off the floor. It might be, you can do a 2-minute wall sit or hold a plank for a certain amount of time. There are certain targets that I think are worth trying to either work towards, or if you've already got them, to definitely maintain, because for that long-term quality of life, they are hugely important and hugely beneficial. So to give you an example, Joe's kind of touched on with this, as we age, likelihood is that we're going to have a fall at some point in time. We may end up on the floor. We may not have use of our arms at that stage because some of them are dislocated. I used to work in falls prevention. It is not uncommon. So to be in a position where you can, or you basically know the techniques by which you can get up off the floor without using your hands is really important. But it's just a really good little tester around mobility, around strength, around just kind of general physical capacity. So I think what we're going to need to do, Joe, is a quick video, not right now because we're in the middle of the wagon race, but a quick video, because I've got 2 techniques for getting up off the floor without using your hands. And I'm going to say the one that you've probably been seeing on social media, Judith, is the one where somebody's sat on the floor cross-legged and stand up immediately from a cross-legged position, because that is the one that's harder. There's a much easier way to do it.
Should we make that challenge next week?
We could do.
Should we make that a group challenge? Should I get Karen to do a little demo?
Yeah. Go on then. Or should we ask? Tell you what. Should we ask people if they want to do a quick video about whether they can do it? They can use any technique you want. Yeah, any technique you want. How would you get up off the floor without using your hands? There you go.
Yeah,
Drop it in the
that'd
group
be
chat.
really good.
Yeah, and then me and you'll do it. I'll show you how to do it.
We'll just fail.
So we'll come back to exactly how you get up to the floor without using your hands, but also 100% Judith, it is something that you should be able to do, and if you can't do it at the moment, let's work towards being able to achieve it.
I just think it then leads to so much more. Like, it is that whole your general leg strength. Another thing for like my client Karen, who is just a beast at the gym. She lives in a 3-story house and cannot climb to the top of her stairs without being absolutely gasped out of breath. That was the first thing she came to me about. I put this in the group chat the other day as a message, so I'll just summarise it. But now she can get all the way up the stairs without being out of breath. And I think like that is such a big thing, because that is the power in our legs. But also the fact she can carry it when she's a single like woman, she has no kids around her anymore, anything like that. Like, she can now carry her own shopping. And she said she really struggled, she'd have to bring the trolley to the car, whereas like she can now just carry it straight there, or like little things like that. You never know when you're going to have to be independent and be able to do that. Or like my mum, or even my granddad, like obviously he was an amazing person. At 82 he was still go to the gym like 6 days a week, but he could pick the little ones up. I'm gonna say he could pick up all of us at that point, but he could literally pick the little ones up, and I think like that's a quality of life, being able to play and pick my nieces up and everything.
And I'm gonna say even not as we age, even at whatever age we're at, just being like, I can move the sofa around by myself. I could jump start my car if I wanted to. Having that ability to physically perform, I think is huge. It's basically one of the main reasons why I train. I'm not actually a huge fan of training in the gym, but the training that I do in the gym is because it gives me the quality of life that I want outside of the gym, to be able to go and do loads of cool stuff.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the wind out.
Shall we turn around and head in the other direction very, very shortly then? Yeah.
Oh, we're not doing it right now. I hope these are all out on a walk right now. We are currently walking past some really pretty sunflowers. Ben's probably like, why am I taking videos? I'm like, because it's so pretty. It is so pretty.
Yeah, cool. Let us turn and go. Hopefully it hasn't been too windy for people. So
getting up off this floor, I think, is a real crucial thing. Just any general mobility. How many of you can actually do a lunge where your back knee touches the floor? Again, that's hip mobility. But Ben will tell me off for slamming my knee off the floor. But that is actually such a big thing, being able to do that, because it is that whole technique of bending down, grabbing something, and then how like loose your joints are. Again, somebody else I've been working with, you couldn't even get down anywhere past probably like 50% of his knee. Now he gets all the way down and walks along, but he's saying like even just the extra stuff that's made a massive difference on is like being able, when you like shift yourself out of bed and his hips can go over and that. I think that is such a big deal. It impacts you more than you think.
I mean, there are so many movement patterns that we do in life that effectively you're replicating in the gym all of the time. So that might be just getting up and down out of a chair, or there's your squat pattern, it's picking stuff up off the floor, there's your deadlift pattern, it's reaching up overhead to put something on a tall shelf, there's your overhead press pattern.
Unless you have an aesthetic goal, this is why we don't give you the random like bicep curls really or tricep stuff, because if you think about your overhead movements with the military press, how many of you complain how heavy it is, but also how important it is. It's why we give you squat, because it's getting up and down. It's like Ben said, it's the deadlift, it's the movements.
I think that's where that combination for me of kind of being able to get off the floor, getting up off the floor, because there's so many, in every sense of the word, so many moving parts. There's mobility, there's core control, there's leg strength, there's coordination. There's being able to kind of put all that together in quite a specific sequence. Don't get us wrong, Judith, it's a challenge. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but when you're able to put all of those bits of the jigsaw puzzle together, it means actually you're a pretty fit, flexible, healthy kind of person. So worth pursuing. Is there any other kind of targets or tests? I mentioned wall sit, plank, that kind of stuff, because you will see these in the a newspaper will come up with the top 5 things that you should be able to do at the age of 50 or whatever it is. So I'm going to ask the question to the group: is there any of these tests or targets or something you've seen that you'd like to go at or you've never done? Joe, is there anything that you've done with clients or that you've tested people?
Especially for my menopause ladies. Balance is a huge thing. something my mum now does, which cracks me up every time because I'm so proud of her for doing it, but also other clients I've told you to do, is standing on one leg while brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
You know, you have to brush your teeth for 2 minutes, so she does 1 minute on one leg, one on the other. But it's made such a difference. She's now leveled up, Karen, to being able to kind of do little calf raises at the same time, you know, lifting up onto her toes and back down. Yeah, holding the sink, but it's trying to kind of improve that balance and the core strength. But it's so stupid because how many people go, oh, I'll go home and I'll do some abs when I get in, and you don't. You know, you end up getting distracted. Or I'll stretch tonight before I go to bed, and you don't. Do things where you're physically already got a habit of and just adapt that habit. Like when you're boiling the kettle, like can you do a little bit of a glute stretch?
Yep.
Can you do some like press ups against the bench? Stuff like that is little, what I call like snack bite kind of energies. I don't know, habits.
Yeah.
I always call them snack bites because I just think like just little tiny things.
Because you love food. That's basically
yeah,
what
I
it
do.
is.
That's all I ever think about.
Yeah.
To be honest, is why I have a degree in it. But yeah, just doing those little tiny habits can build massively onto it.
And let's jump back very briefly, that 10,000 steps a day as well. It's just having these like constant amounts of small movement is actually what you're trying to do with that 10,000 steps a day. So whether it's 10,000 steps a day or you only, for example, get 5,000, but you've done 50 press ups against the bench and 50 squats, you know, air squats whilst waiting for the kettle to boil or stuff, it's like you're actually building those consistent movement patterns in during the day. That's actually what you're trying to do with your 10,000 steps a day or whatever it may be. Shall we jump into nutrition and fat reduction and the nutrition side of things? Because otherwise we will go on for ages on this topic.
But if you have any more on steps, let me know, because like a little thing I will come into massively more towards winter when we're doing these is, and when I go to bed I'm not going for a walk because it's so cold, is things like even just going on the bike. Like you get like 15 minutes on the bike can be about 2,000 steps. So just, you know, jumping on things like that. If you have a bike at home or stuff like that, just trying to jump onto. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions on steps, because I think it's such a big topic.
Yeah. Or dropping any ideas about little ways that you get movement in through the day as well. Is it steps, or is it, well, actually, you know, you enjoy doing something else, but you're actually, you know, yoga, tai chi, Pilates, those kinds of things very much factor into that mix as well, don't they?
But nutrition.
Nutrition, and Roberta's question, which is again, it's a whole can of worms in here.
And if I had £1 for every time somebody asked me how to fat, like spot,
£7.50.
Yeah. I would literally be a millionaire, because I'm part 50 for me now as a millionaire. But still, it is a massive topic we get asked, and it links back to that whole social media.
Yeah.
It is the bane of my existence. It is ridiculous how many people try to talk about it. But I also think it's such a brave thing to ask as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it is something we all genuinely think about. You know, tell me one day in your life where you've not woke up or you've not done something in your daily life and you've got, ooh, that doesn't look great, or this doesn't look great, and things like that, because it is so common that we all wake up and kind of look at, you know, one day you think, ooh, my biceps look great, and then the next day you're like, oh, not great, like things like that.
No, every day mine do. Yeah, no, so it's a really good point actually, that, like I said, the ability to ask the question, because one of the reasons, and I think this is worth saying as well, one of the reasons why we do health and fitness related stuff is actually we like to look pretty decent whilst doing it. You know, it's not something to necessarily shy away from and be like, oh, I'm only doing it because I want to be, you know, I want to complete a 10K or I want to be able to get off the floor. It's like actually looking good is part of it as well.
Yeah,
so let's not kind of shy away from that. But can you spot reduce fat?
No.
Take yes or no?
No. Gun to the head, absolutely not, unfortunately. That does not mean that there's not ways around that question. So I was saying, like, you can do body composition, which is a huge thing. It is completely, I was going to say 50-50 actually. It is not completely 50-50. I'd probably say it's 80% nutrition, 20% training. Am I? 70-30?
Yeah, I got tricky.
Know.
I'd probably go 70-30 maybe. It's more nutrition than training. I'm going to say that. Let's just say 99% of the time it's a nutrition problem, not a training problem.
Yeah. Soz.
Yeah.
Put your thighs away.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I would say I've had it all the time. There'll be blokes coming up basically saying I've got a bit of a beer belly that I want to get rid of. And usually with girls, it's kind of bums and thighs.
Yeah.
It might be tricep bingo wing type of thing. That's very often another one, yeah?
Yeah.
It's always the areas that people are like, I don't like that part of me. So yeah, it's hugely common. Sorry, Joe, I interrupted you. Go.
Should I do nutrition? You do gym?
Yeah, go on then.
So nutrition side is, so when we say like what we mean by 70 or 80% or whatever it is of nutrition, is unfortunately it's that kind of clean eating, which I hate using that word because there is exactly no food which is unhealthy. But if it fits your macro approach, so what that means is, say for example, somebody like me gave you a calorie target each day of 2,000 calories, and you could have like 7 bagels, and which that would be my dream, 7 bagels and a couple of bars of chocolate, and it still fits 2,000 calories. But that will not, and if I said that was a deficit for you, yes, you might lose a little bit of weight, but you will not look toned. And by that toned meaning, I mean, the generic 6-pack that people like, or the defined muscles. It will just essentially not be used, not utilised, and not absorbed essentially, which will deplete your energy and means you can't go and smash your training, which I know Ben will tell you about for body compositioning. So it is making sure you're eating more, that famous word that everybody's addicted to, more protein. Yes, that should be higher, but also depending on who you are as a person, depends on how your carbs and fat should be split. For me, around training, I really prioritise carbs. It's just something that I work best around. However, my dinner, if I've trained in the morning, which I try to do, or lunchtime, my tea at night will be higher fat, and I really try to stay away from carbs, just because it's happier for my hormones. It means I go to bed better, things like that. But it really depends on that split as an individual. So it really is a test and trial situation. I think that you should never stick to the same phase all year. You should never be in a deficit for longer than 12 weeks. Even that is quite a long time. You should probably have a diet break in the middle. And what we mean by that is not going and then having 3,000 calories a day. It's kind of coming back up to what your maintenance level is. I don't want to go into too much depth about that, so you can do a little bit of research, or we'll talk about it on another podcast if you've got questions. But yeah, kind of going up into it. But then, for example, so this is my pre-season training. I'm eating way more than I like at the minute than I actually will be when I'm competing. When I'm competing, I'll be around that maintenance. Apart from maybe a couple of days before my competitions, I'll carb load a little bit. But actually during the season of it, for the 3 months, I will just be at my maintenance levels. And that is so I don't change any body composition at all. I should just look the same. Whereas post-season, I'll probably eat a little bit more again, put some more muscle on, which again Ben will talk about. And then come around summer, I'll maybe just do a little bit of a deficit, things like that.
That like I said, that cycle is really important. I think when it comes to training, Joe's already kind of started getting into this as well, which is good. Is that you can eat 7 bagels and a couple of bars of chocolate, but if you do it that way, and particularly if you're not training particularly effectively, you just lose weight from all of your mass. So that's both muscle and fat. Now muscle is metabolically active, so actually your body tries to get rid of that first. So in fact, you bump yourself into a deficit, and unless you've got that high protein intake, your body's going, I need to dump all this muscle, because that's very high energy expenditure that I need for it, and it actually tries to hang on to your fat reserves whilst losing muscle, which is the opposite of what you're actually trying to achieve. That then feeds into your training, because then obviously your energy levels for your training are down. You're not actually able to build muscle because you haven't got sufficient protein in the system, and that kind of thing. And then when it comes to training, hang on, I'm just going to pause this very briefly as we go through the tunnel, I think. So I just had a couple of bikes coming through the tunnel there. So when it comes to our training, and again, it's that idea of that kind of toned composition. We're actually looking to try to generate and build some muscle whilst losing the body fat percentage. That's actually quite difficult to do in a deficit. So a lot of the work around body composition, you'll see that classic bodybuilder split, where they'll basically bulk up They'll eat loads and loads of calories, usually rubbish
Dirty
calories.
bulk.
Yeah. So Joe's point on having that real good quality of nutrition is really, really important in there. But effectively, you're doing that to try to build some muscle mass into the system. Because the more muscle mass you carry, the more calories you're going to burn, even when you're just sitting around in your tight whities. Yeah, so the more muscle mass that you have, more calories you burn, which is a good reason to be carrying more muscle mass around as well as looking good. And then they'll kind of head towards, as Joe's been saying, around that kind of competition season. Not that she's doing it for this bodybuilding, but you kind of get into a deficit, for example, to try to reduce your body fat percentage. But bodybuilders will still lose muscle mass as part of that process, but they really try to kind of ramp that protein intake up for their training changes ever so slightly, to kind of try to make sure that they are maintaining as much muscle mass as possible. Yeah, there's so much that we could talk about on this. We've already done 30 minutes though, Joe.
Quickly though, on like especially as a woman's side, I think that a big part that everybody just generically tries to pick on is their stomachs. Be like, I wish I was leaner on my stomach and things like that. I know Ben said like dads beer bellies and things, but also women. Like especially a lower bit, the amount of times people, you know, pick it and go like, oh, I wish I could just lose a bit of this. Yeah, but also you've got to remember, women have a higher body fat percentage because we have more organs than men do. You know, for example, a lean body mass for a man is around 7 to 10%.
Yep.
Ours is 22%. Like, that is a huge difference. That is, you know, like I said, we've got more organs, but also we've got a womb. Like, you've got to have enough fat around that area to protect our womb, which is what is essentially our main hormone and keeps us happy. So anybody that is visibly very lean is actually not that healthy.
Absolutely 100%. I think that's probably the most important thing to go here is when it comes to spot reduction, you can't do it. So losing body fat from everywhere is effectively what happens, and you're going to lose it from the bits last that you want it to go from the most. That's just a fact of life. But to be absolutely aware that actually low body fat percentages, or really kind of trying to lose weight aggressively, or taking, you know, extreme deficits or whatever it might be, are just stupid ways to go
just
about
make sure
it.
you're training to failure.
And
no matter what it is, you know, endurance or weightlifting, like make sure you are just really pushing yourself. Like, were you actually able to do like 3 more reps when it was an 8 repper? Do you know what I mean? You should be on that last rep and it should be bloody hard. Like, if you are then saying that, you know, that this is not happening, that your body's not changing, question your training. Like, genuinely question yourself. And ask one of us, ask us to check your weight, ask somebody else to see it and go, hang on, you've been lifting 40 kilo deadlift for 4 weeks now. I'd be questioning that.
Time to push on. Absolutely. Time to push on. Yeah, and also I'm going to say look at your nutrition as well. I'm going to go on here a little bit longer than we were going to. So I worked in weight management for a while, and we had one of my first ever clients within that. I couldn't work out why she wasn't losing weight at all. And it turns out that she thought that anything that she bought from Holland and Barrett's, because it was health food.
You're kidding.
No.
I've not heard this.
Okay, anything that was bought from Holland and Barrett's was effectively free. And she was smashing in the Bombay mix like you wouldn't believe.
That is so funny.
And wasn't losing weight. But that goes back to that point of it's actually very easy to kind of underestimate what we're actually eating and how many calories we're taking in. It's very easy to kind of fool yourself because, you know, on the
oils.
On the package labelling, something's saying, oh, it's high in protein. There's no such thing as high in protein on a Weetabix, for example.
If it's got 15% protein in it, you can call it high protein.
There's so much kind of food misinformation. So effectively what we're saying, let's come back to it. We need to wrap it up. These people have probably had enough of us.
Sorry, guys.
Now. It's basically train hard. Train hard, train to failure. It's look at your nutrition, make sure that you're eating as clean as possible, as healthy as possible, keep that protein intake high, get your steps in, and let's work out how we get up off the floor. Yeah,
I'm so excited to see it.
Cool. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hope you had your nice walk. Let us know where you went for a walk if you heard this. Or if you're just listening to us ramble on, you can commute to work. Thank you.
Catch you all soon, guys. Take care.